Stop being emotional. It's time to take control. Too many people let their emotions run their lives. They react instead of thinking. They break down instead of building up. And they wonder why nothing ever changes. Listen, your emotions are real, but they're not always right. If you let every feeling decide your next move, you'll keep making the same mistakes. Life doesn't reward emotional reactions. It rewards emotional discipline. If you want power, if you want peace, and if you want progress, it's time to stop being emotional and start being intentional. Emotions are signals, not steering wheels. Learn to feel, but don't let feelings drive your life. There's nothing wrong with emotions. In fact, emotions are what make us human. You're supposed to feel, you're supposed to care, you're supposed to cry sometimes. That's not weakness, that's being alive. But here's the problem. Too many people let emotions control their actions. They let sadness stop them, let anger destroy relationships, let fear keep them from starting, and then they wonder why they're stuck in the same place year after year. Emotions are not the enemy, but they were never meant to be in the driver's seat. They are signals, a message, not a mandate. Imagine driving down a road and your dashboard lights up. Low fuel, engine check, tire pressure, those are signals. But you don't grab the steering wheel and jerk it because of a blinking light. You don't crash your car because you're running low on gas. You fix it. You respond. You don't panic. The same goes for life. When you feel angry, that's a signal something feels unfair or hurtful. When you feel anxious, it's a sign that something needs attention. When you're sad, it's often grief that something meaningful is shifting or missing. Feelings are feedback, but the question is, what are you going to do with that feedback? Letting emotions make decisions for you is like letting a smoke alarm set your house on fire. It's supposed to warn you, not destroy you. Under 40, then you're in the emotional battleground. If you're under 40, you're in the phase of life where your decisions are building your future. Your relationships, career, mindset, finances, habits, they're being formed right now. And if your emotions are leading you, you'll build your future out of instability. You'll quit when things get hard. You'll blow up when someone criticizes you. You'll ghost people who hurt you instead of growing through the pain. You'll pass up opportunities because fear whispered, "What if you fail?" That's not strength. That's emotional slavery. You cannot be a builder and be emotionally reckless at the same time. Builders need clarity. They need calm under pressure. They need the ability to feel a storm inside, but still show up, still lead, still move forward. Mastering emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. Let's get this clear. We're not saying don't feel. We're saying don't follow every feeling. Because your feelings change, you can love someone deeply today and feel distance tomorrow. You can be passionate about your dreams today and discouraged tomorrow. That's normal. The key is not to ignore emotions, but to interpret them correctly. Anger, pause. What boundary got crossed? Fear, breathe. What action can you take anyway? Sadness, reflect. What needs healing? Not hiding. When you learn to pause and reflect instead of reacting, you begin to lead your emotions instead of being led by them. That's when maturity starts. That's when real strength shows up. Your future needs a stronger you. The world doesn't reward people who feel everything. The world rewards people who can feel everything and still move forward. Your dream doesn't care if you're tired. Your family can't afford for you to shut down. Your calling demands a version of you that isn't swayed by every mood swing. When you build emotional discipline, you become dangerous in the best way. Because now you can be calm when others panic. You can stay focused when others flinch. You can forgive when others hold grudges. You can push through fear and do it anyway. That's leadership. That's growth. That's how you win. Let emotions speak. But don't let them decide. Here's the truth. You will feel things that hurt. You will feel overwhelmed. You will feel fear. You will want to quit. Let those feelings come. Let them talk, but never let them take the wheel. You are the driver. You are the decision maker. Your values lead you. Your purpose guides you. Not your panic, not your sadness, not your anger. Emotions are part of your story. But they are not the author. You are. Reacting is easy. Responding takes strength. Control your emotions, or they'll control you. We live in a world that teaches us to react fast. A world of instant likes, instant comments, instant opinions. One wrong word, one angry glance, one moment of stress. And boom, you explode, you snap back, you say something you regret, you hit send before thinking, you slam the door instead of speaking truth. But here's what nobody tells you: reacting is easy. Responding, that takes real strength. Anybody can react. It takes zero effort to get angry, zero thought to yell, zero growth to walk away from hard conversations. But if you're under 40, listen closely. This phase of your life is about building. And you can't build anything that lasts if your emotions are running wild. You can't create real love, real success, real peace if your first reaction is always your final decision. Your reactions are not who you are. Let's make something clear. You are not your first reaction. That anger, it's a flash. That fear, it's a shadow. That sarcasm or silence you throw when someone hits your insecurities, that's protection, not power. Your first reaction is usually your emotional defense. But your true self, your strong, grounded, wise self, shows up when you slow down and choose to respond. Let's say someone disrespects you. Your instinct is to lash out or cut them off. That's reaction. But response, that's asking, what's really going on here? Do I need to walk away, speak truth, or forgive? Reacting feeds your ego. Responding builds your future. Emotion without control is a storm without direction. Emotions aren't bad. They're human, but uncontrolled emotions, they wreck things. You ever say something in anger and instantly regret it? You ever walk away from an opportunity because fear told you you're not ready? You ever isolate yourself because sadness convinced you no one cares? That's what happens when emotions lead. You start acting on temporary feelings and causing permanent damage. Anger isn't the enemy, but rage is. Fear isn't failure, but surrendering to it is. Sadness isn't weakness. But staying stuck in it, that will break you. If you don't control your emotions, they will control your decisions, your mindset, your habits, and eventually your whole life. Responding is a superpower when you pause. You become powerful when you breathe. You gain clarity when you wait. You allow your wisdom to catch up to your emotions. Response is not weakness. It's war strategy. It's emotional maturity in a world full of emotional chaos. While everyone else is yelling, proving, panicking, and posting, you're thinking, you're choosing, you're staying grounded. That's not soft, that's smart. In business, in relationships, in life. Those who respond instead of react win. They don't burn bridges. They don't blow up deals. They don't lose people they love just because emotions ran wild. Master the pause. If you're under 40, one of the most powerful skills you can build is this, the pause. That 2 seconds before you reply, that deep breath before you argue, that moment of reflection before you walk away or throw it all out. The pause gives you your power back. It says, I feel this, but I am not controlled by it. It says, I can speak truth, but I don't have to scream it. It says, I can choose peace even when I'm hurt. Your strength isn't shown in how loud you yell. Your strength shows in how well you hold your peace when chaos shows up. Own your response, own your life. The world tells you to act fast, to prove yourself, to clap back, to defend, but wisdom whispers, slow down, feel everything. But don't let everything lead you. When you stop reacting and start responding, you rise. You become the calm in the storm. You become the clarity in confusion. You become the person people trust, not fear. And most of all, you become someone you respect. So today, decide, no more letting emotions write your story. No more knee-jerk reactions that sabotage your peace. No more weakness masked as rage. Reacting is easy, but your future is too important to live easy. Choose strength. Choose response. Choose to lead yourself before the world tries to lead you. Discipline over drama. Build a life on principles, not moods. We live in a time where drama gets the spotlight. It gets the likes, the views, the attention, but drama doesn't build anything. Drama entertains while discipline builds. And if you're under 40, it's time to choose a life that looks exciting, or a life that actually works. Every successful person you admire, from athletes to business legends, didn't get there by riding the emotional roller coaster. They built their life on discipline, on showing up when they didn't feel like it, on doing the hard thing even when no one was watching, on principles, not moods. Drama is loud, discipline is quiet. But discipline wins every time. Feelings are fleeting, principles are permanent. Let's be real, you're not always going to feel motivated, you're not always going to feel focused. Some days you'll feel tired, lost, angry, heartbroken. If you let those moods guide your life, you'll build nothing but cycles. But if you let principles guide you, your life becomes unshakable. A principle says, I work out whether I feel like it or not. A principle says, I keep my word even when I'm tired. A principle says, I stay calm even when drama comes my way. Moods change, principles don't, and people who build with principles become unbreakable. Drama is a distraction, the reason most people don't grow. They're addicted to drama, they crave chaos, they live in emotional conflict. They waste hours in arguments, gossip, scrolling, comparing, reacting. Here's the truth. Drama feeds the ego, but drains the soul. And while you're caught in drama, your goals are sitting in the corner, watching you trade your future for temporary feelings. You don't rise by getting pulled into everything. You rise by stepping back, locking in, and moving with discipline. Not everyone deserves your energy. Not every situation needs your opinion. Some things aren't worth your time. Your goals are. Discipline isn't restriction. It's freedom. People hear the word discipline and think of pain, of sacrifice, of boredom. But here's what nobody tells you. Discipline gives you freedom. When you're disciplined with your time, you have more of it. When you're disciplined with money, you build security. When you're disciplined with your emotions, you create peace. When you're disciplined with your habits, you shape your destiny. You don't need motivation every day. You need discipline to show up even when motivation is gone. Discipline builds the life drama can only pretend to have. Your future self is watching. If you're under 40, your future self is counting on you, not to party more, not to argue more, not to be emotionally unstable. Your future self is begging you, get serious, build something real. Let people laugh, let people say you've changed, let people call you boring. You're not here for their approval, you're here for your purpose. 1 year of deep discipline can change your entire life. 1 year of waking up early, sticking to your word, eating clean, working hard, and walking away from nonsense can create a future you didn't think was possible. But it starts with a choice: drama or discipline, noise or focus, comfort or growth. Show up rooted, not reactive. Drama says act on emotion. Discipline says act on principle. Drama says do what feels good now. Discipline says do what builds later. You're not weak because you want to rest. You're not wrong for having emotions. But you become powerful when you stop being ruled by them. The most powerful people aren't the loudest. They're the most consistent. They're not always hyped, but they always show up. They're not chasing attention. They're building something that lasts. Be that person. Choose peace over performance, purpose over popularity, discipline over drama. Because a grounded life is a powerful life, and your future deserves nothing less. Feel everything, but master yourself. Emotional maturity is the real power. If you're under 40, you've already felt it. The heartbreak, the pressure, the comparison, the fear of failure, the weight of trying to figure out who you are and where you're going while pretending you have it all together, and in a world that tells you to be real and feel everything. Sometimes it feels like you're drowning in your emotions with no anchor, but here's the truth. Feeling everything is not the problem. Being ruled by those feelings is. Yes, you should feel deeply. That makes you human. But if you don't learn how to master your emotions, they will master you, and nothing will destroy your potential faster than emotions you never learned to control. You're not weak because you feel deeply. There's a lie that says feeling is weakness. That being emotional makes you soft. That crying, hurting, or getting overwhelmed is something to hide. That's false. The strongest people you'll ever meet have felt more than most, but they didn't stay stuck. They didn't use emotions as excuses. They used them as fuel. They turned their pain into power. They turned their heartbreak into hunger. They turned their frustration into focus. The goal isn't to shut off your emotions. It's to feel them fully and still choose wisely. Because emotional maturity isn't about being numb. It's about being strong enough to feel pain without reacting in pain, to feel anger and not let it turn into destruction, to feel fear and still walk forward with courage. Immaturity reacts, maturity responds. When you're led by emotions, you're unstable. You ghost people who love you. You quit jobs out of frustration. You lash out at friends, chase validation, spend out of impulse, and say things you regret. That's not power, that's emotional chaos. But when you master yourself, everything changes. You stop reacting to everything. You start thinking before speaking. You stop chasing attention and start building peace. You no longer need to be liked. You need to be aligned with your values. That's what maturity looks like. Not perfect emotions, but disciplined ones. Your life is built on emotional decisions, let's be honest. Most people don't fail from lack of talent. They fail from poor emotional decisions. They quit too soon because things got hard. They stay in toxic situations because they're afraid to be alone. They say yes to things that drain them and no to the things that could grow them. Why? Because they're led by emotion, not wisdom. If you want a strong life, you need strong emotional control. If you want real love, real success, and real impact, you need the emotional maturity to keep showing up when you don't feel like it, to do the right thing even when it hurts, to forgive, to be patient, to walk away from drama and stay grounded in storms. The strongest people master their inner world. Your real enemy isn't out there. It's not your ex, not your job, not your family. It's the war inside you, and if you don't win that war, your emotions will run your life. But once you master yourself, nothing outside of you can break you. People will try to provoke you, but you'll stay calm. Life will throw storms, but you'll stay rooted. Feelings will rise, but you'll stay focused. This is what the world needs, not more emotional outbursts. Not more passive-aggressive silence. Not more people burning down relationships and opportunities because of a bad mood. The world needs people who feel deeply but act wisely. Emotional mastery equals real power. Emotional maturity doesn't show up in public. It shows up when no one sees, when you're angry and choose silence instead of revenge, when you're sad but still show up to your responsibilities, when you're afraid but still take the leap. Feel everything, but don't be led by everything. Let your emotions inform you, but let your principles guide you. That's how you build a life worth living. That's how you create peace in a chaotic world. That's how you become someone who can lead, love, and last. So, to everyone under 40, this is your moment, not to run from your emotions, but to rise above them, not to pretend you're not feeling, but to lead yourself anyway. Feel everything, but master yourself. That's the real power. You can't win if you're always wounded. Healing begins when emotions stop running the show. Let's get real. Life will wound you. People will disappoint you. Friends will betray you. Love will leave you. You'll be overlooked, misunderstood, doubted, and broken in ways you never expected. That's the reality, especially if you're under 40 and navigating relationships, dreams, failures, and your own identity. But here's the hard truth. You can't win if you're always wounded. That pain you carry, it's valid, but if you don't heal it, it will shape every part of your future. You'll build walls instead of bridges. You'll sabotage opportunities. You'll attract the same pain in different people. You'll make emotional decisions that cost you peace, purpose, and progress. It's okay to be hurt. It's not okay to stay there. Everyone gets hurt. That's part of being human, but staying wounded, that's a choice. The problem is, too many people think time heals. It doesn't. Time doesn't heal. Intention does. You have to face the pain. You have to look at the wound and say, I'm not going to let this control me anymore. Because if you don't deal with what broke you, it will quietly lead your life. You'll push away good people. You'll overreact to small things. You'll live guarded, cold, or chaotic, because you never took the time to clean the wound. Unhealed pain becomes a personality. Let that sink in. Unhealed pain becomes a personality, and if you're not careful, your identity becomes your trauma. You'll say things like, this is just who I am. I don't trust people. I always mess things up. I don't need anyone, no. That's not who you are. That's who you became when you were hurting. And no one showed you how to heal. But you're not meant to stay in survival mode forever. You're not meant to carry wounds like trophies. You're meant to rise, to evolve, to move forward without bleeding on people who didn't cut you. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means reclaiming power. Healing doesn't mean the pain didn't happen. It means you're no longer allowing it to lead your life. You can forgive people and still set boundaries. You can remember what happened without being haunted by it. You can feel the scar without living like the wound is still open. Healing is not weakness. It's strength. It's doing the inner work that most people avoid. It's breaking patterns that were passed down. It's choosing not to pass your pain onto someone else. And that kind of power, it's rare, but it's what winners are made of. You can't lead while bleeding. If you're under 40, you're in the building phase of life. And whether you like it or not, you're leading something. You're leading your family, your business, your team, your younger siblings, or just your own future. But listen closely, you can't lead while bleeding, because bleeding people bleed on others. They confuse intensity with love. They turn every disagreement into war. They see betrayal in loyalty, threats in correction, and abandonment in silence. If you want to lead well, love deeply, and live fully, you have to stop living from the wound. Start living from the wisdom. Heal so you can rise. You can't win with a victim mindset. You can't grow if you're still protecting your pain. You can't lead, love, or live from your full potential if emotions are driving every decision. So here's your challenge. Stop blaming the past. Stop waiting for closure from people who never gave you peace. Stop feeding the drama and start feeding your healing. It's time to grow. It's time to forgive, not for them, but for your own future. It's time to feel every emotion, but not let those emotions rule your life. Because the truth is, you were wounded, yes, but you're still here, and if you're still here, there's still power in you, power to rise, power to build, power to love again, power to lead yourself into a future that's no longer shaped by the pain of your past. You can't win if you're always wounded, so heal so you can fight, so you can win, so you can live.